Hi guys, good morning, walking the dog. So I want to discuss something with you guys where I know that a lot of you live all over the state and probably all over the world. Excuse the loud car that just went by, but I wanted to discuss with you guys, I was talking with John and my mom, which I need to talk to them about this on a more extensive and more of a deep conversation scale of where we want to live. Like, I know we live in Southern California right now, but eventually California is going to drive us out. Maybe, I'm not sure about California in general, but at least this area. So my mom says that it's going to be California, and John says it's going to be probably this area, and that we should move somewhere other than where we are, just like in California still, because I think he's very skeptical about moving out of the state, and there's lots of reasons that he wants to stay in the state, and I completely understand that. But I feel like, excuse me, I was opening my gate, but I feel like, I don't know, my mom said, where would you live out of state? And then I've done lots of research on this and taken lots of quizzes online to decide where I should live and what I would be most comfortable with. And honestly, I'm not sure if I could deal with snow, as I'm a very cold person. Not cold in personality, but body temperature, and I don't really like it to be super cold. And I went and visited the snow, same with my mother, and we went and visited, and we said, we made like a snowman, whatever, and then we both agreed that the best part about the snow visiting was that we got to go inside and eat hot cocoa, drink hot cocoa, whatever. So, that's where we don't like cold. When it's below 70 degrees, I got a bunch of jackets on. So there is that. I mean, I guess that's just because my body is acclimated to it. But, yeah, I'm not sure. So, and also, I feel like I kind of live in a concrete jungle in the city. Not that that's a bad thing, but personally, I prefer there to be more, more greenery. Not to say a rural area, but more nature. And I know you're seeing tons of nature when I walk the dog, because my complex is like super, the landscaping is really good. But personally, I would prefer not just my complex to have a nice place, but I also, we were thinking of, for the future, where would we want to be, where would we want to buy. And I personally want, same with John and my mom, agree that we want to have land where we can have a little garden, or even a big garden, little garden, whatever, grow some things. And one day maybe we wanted to build a container house if we can't find the perfect house for us that we want, or maybe a few container houses if we build land. And that sometimes regulation on that, depending on where you live, is hard. So I did some research, meaning lots and lots and years of research on this, and a lot of people, at least in my age range, the millennials, are moving out of California because it's becoming unattainable, even if you have a good job. And, just housing prices are going to run us out of the state. So, even my mom, she owns a business and her business is doing quite well. But again, in a year's time, the market will probably run us out because she's looking to buy a house. And so we were deciding where should we live and why we want to live there. And I've moved to a lot of different places. I've lived in Texas and different places in California, and I visited a lot of places in the United States. And there's reasons why why not I dislike those places. But I went there moving without visiting and researching it first. So what I want to do, and I said is very important, said this to John and my mom, that we should research everywhere we want to live, find the best possibilities inside of California or outside in another state, and why we want to live there. And John mentioned what would we do when we get there. So we would need to figure out what we would do for jobs, where would we live, how would we get situated, and come up with possible scenarios. Is it scenario or scenario? I guess it's tomato, but I say scenario. But anyways, so we would come up with possible scenarios of what our future would be like, or if in a year's time, maybe we could afford to purchase something or rent something that all of us can enjoy. We were thinking of a duplex just because we're not willing to abandon my mother and leave her by herself, because she is a big part of our lives, and my kids adore her, and my son, the older one, couldn't live without her, so she is definitely involved in our decision making. So, but that's okay because her and I are very similar, and we have what we like and dislike as far as where we should live is so close to what we both agree on that that's okay. And we were thinking of a duplex mostly because we are in that situation with my mother, so that way we can be close enough to her, in like basically next to her, but not living in the same household as her, sort of thing, because sometimes my mother and John, and even sometimes my mother and I, butt heads. So that's just what happens, but whatever. We're family, and so we stick by each other no matter what. But in the short run of things, or the long run of things, whatever, I've done lots of research over the years, and I know a lot of friends that have moved out, and which states they moved out of. Excuse me, there was a bee. But they do not regret it whatsoever. And my friends live in a lot of different states now, and I know a lot of people in a lot of different states, and they all want me to move to their state. And they think that I would do well in their state, and they give me all these reasons. But I guess it's because I have I guess I'm a very eclectic person, and I like a lot of different things, and I don't like just one thing or a few things. I'm very different in what I like and dislike, so I could do well in a lot of places. And my kids are young. My oldest one is 3.5. He'll be 4 in October, and my youngest one is 5 months, so they will adjust quite easily. But we want to find permanent residency in wherever we go next. So after doing some research, but it's not just about me, it's about my kids too, and where John would like, because he's quite different of a person between my mother and I, and he's more of a introvert, and he needs a place where he can go ahead and work, but he's very technologically sound, like he builds computers and things like that. But right now he's driving Uber and Lyft, but he's willing to do whatever it is job that will take care of us. But he needs a full-time, a good wage to be able to support us, since I am on Social Security disability. There is that, which I do help out on some of the bills right now and things, but he needs something that's able to support. And in California, that's really hard because the market is just flying out the window. Prices are getting too high and they're not adjusting for inflation. So the rental prices are too high. Same with the buying of the houses. And there's no rent control. And the minimum wage hasn't, like I said, adjusted for inflation. So they're not getting one person working even a full-time job, even a few dollars above minimum wage, is still struggling. So that's a hard thing too. But it's also hard to think about moving out of my home. You know, California is my home. My sister and my brother are here, and everything I know is here. So I've left this area a few times out of the country and out of the state and just out of the area in other places in California. And I've really missed just being home because I haven't found somewhere where I find my people or I connect well with wherever I'm living with, or wherever I'm living, or, you know, I just don't bond well to the area. So that's a hard thing for me. But, you know, I need to find what works for my family and for myself, and we'll compromise and make the best decision. So after doing a lot of research, done tons and years of research, I have narrowed it down to maybe looking into some places in California. I was looking at Temecula. I found online a rental for a 4-bedroom house with a front yard and a backyard and a garage for, I believe it was $1,300 or $1,400 rental, which that is amazing for California. So that's something to really consider. There's other places in California which John has in mind that I need to discuss with him and look up as well, and then discuss with my mom as well to see what she thinks. But she thinks that honestly California is just out the window. And then I've also considered Washington State and Oregon State over here on the West Coast. And the reason I've considered that is not only just the prices, is I do know some people who are from here, California, in my area that I've known for a while. So I will have friends over there and I can trust them, these friends, because I've known them for 10 plus years. And so I can trust these friends in Washington and Oregon to tell me the truth about what it is where they live. So they said a lot of things, and I researched myself, and I've also visited Washington and Oregon multiple times, and I really like the nature, and I really like the open spaces and the greenery and the people, and, you know, the weather. I like that. So I had that in mind. Excuse me, I had to pause the video. There was a little girl and her new puppy. So I didn't want to get them in shot. But anyway, so where was I? Oh yeah, I was also letting Gizmo socialize, because socialization is great for your dogs to keep them friendly. Anyway, so I was saying Oregon and Washington, and then I've also done lots of research, and I thought of Alabama. I do have a friend that lives in Alabama, and he was talking about there's a lot of places. John used to work in RV industry, and he was very successful in doing that and made pretty decent money for California. And there's a lot of RV places in Alabama and a lot of technology things. He could work IT and computers or something that he enjoys. And there's a lot of rural areas where container houses would be cheaper, or, you know, I could live, almost pay my entire rent for an apartment with just my Social Security disability. So there is that. So I have thought of that. The only thing is, it's muggy and buggy and humid, which I don't really like that. And I'm not like super religious or super conservative. Not to say I'm liberal, not to say I'm not getting into politics, but I'm not super conservative or super Christian or super religious or whatever. And I don't want people to be asking me about that. That in the South is really hot. And as you've probably seen if you've been watching my other vlogs, how much I've been complaining about the heat. So that's one thing. And I don't know. I need to go visit those places. And the thing though too about Alabama is that there's lots of land. So we could get land super cheap and have our container houses, which there's not so much regulation on what you can and cannot build on your own land, which makes it a little bit easier. That, and I know someone there. So it would be an easier adjustment because they could help me adjust, so to speak, and show me around, whatever it is. But like I said, I'm not going to make any decisions until after I talk to Mom and John and do some extensive research. We are going to renew our lease for sure one more time and have a year to look and discuss and decide where we're going to go before we make any decisions. But I wanted to come on here and ask you guys, what do you think? Where should we go? What is the best opportunity for a family with young children for the future inside the United States? Where do you live? Why do you like where you live? And any information on this would be great. But as per usual, I will bring you guys along on the journey so you will know every update. And we're keeping a positive outlook on this, and we're going to do this as a family. So I know this is a little bit different of a video than my normal vlogs, but I'm also going to be doing an unboxing video. So look out for that. And I'm going to end this here, and as I like to say, something positive at the end of everything, and say enjoy life, enjoy where you live, and if you don't, then decide where you want to go and do what makes you happy. So that's what we're going to do. And I'm going to get back inside because, like I said, even though it's only going to be 77 degrees, I'm already tired. So I'll see you guys later. And please, let's have a discussion about the whole living situation and why not. And we'll help each other out. So thank you again, and I'll see you guys later.